Hello all, welcome back to Learning Partner. If you are new, please do subscribe. This is another channel where you can directly connect with me. We have around 1,000 plus members already who are working. We take live coding sessions and everything. To just get notified about those sessions, please do join this group. Okay. So in this video, we are going to see a property booking application. So whenever we say different types of domains or applications of, right, where various application domains are there. Let's say banking domain is there, e-commerce domain is there, again ERP domain is there. So ERP is a domain where so many small application can be there. Just an example, property site booking or employee management system as well. We can say it's an ERP application. A stock maintenance application, it is also an ERP maintenance application. So ERP as an enterprise level applications means, let's say small companies are there, and to automate whatever the different tasks they have, they will create a small application. So out of that, real estate is also kind of a big market. And inside that, we have, let's say we have a real estate developer who has multiple sites going on, right? So let's say in Pune, he have two sites going on. One side, he is just selling the plots. In one side, he have the flats. So what he will do, he will use this application to manage all the sites. Let's say if we create one flat scheme is there, and inside that flat scheme, around 100 flats are there. Each flats will have a different, let's say 1 BHK, 2 BHK, and east facing, north facing, whatever it can be. Rate might be different. For first two floor, it can be different, right? So he will create the site. In that site, he will create multiple properties. So this is just a final page where we will look. So here I will select the site. Whatever the properties I have created in this site, it will be available like this. If I click on book, it will redirect to this booking page where I will provide the customer details, site, property number, like which particular property is going to book, booking rate, what I have given, and the list. Then this is the page to create the property. So first, like we have to create the site. Where is the site? Yeah. So this is the first page where we will be creating the site. Site as in my, let's say if it is a flat, so I will just name some particular name to that particular site. If it's a plot land I'm selling, I will have some particular layout name like that. So first I will create the site. Then in that site, I will create multiple properties. And once my data is ready, then I will be doing the booking. So this is the booking form. And just to get a holistic picture, we have this form where we will be able to see everything. Okay. If we select particular site, what are the number of flats we have? What available property I have in this particular site? What are sold? Currently, I have not shown like who have, means if this property is sold, we can show the customer name also, like who is the customer owner of this particular site. So in a single page, you will be able to see all the information of his multiple site. So this is just a basic UI I am able to showcase you before starting the application. Now, as I said, like it's an ERP domain. So if you just Google it also now. So there are so many various products, including Zoho also. Zoho has also the same small ERP application. So many products are there which are based on this idea. So whenever we see, like if we have to practice a project, always choose a project which is a real case also, because this is a domain which has a very proper market. Real estate has a proper market from, let's say, last 10 years or 20 years also, right? So obviously, if there is a real estate market, so obviously they are going to need the application. So this is the kind of application every real estate will have. Fine. Let me just explain the API also. So in project API.zerasim.in, you will be able to find the API. So whatever UI we have discussed, like that APIs are there. So first, some customer APIs are there. So we should be, obviously, we are going to sell the product to customers. So we should be able to seek all the customer, add, update, delete operation. We should be able to do. Then property type. So property type is just a master. So when, let's say I am a real estate owner, sometimes I can sell plots, land, or sometimes I can send a flats also, or even sometimes I can send the, what do we say, storage properties also, go down kind of thing also, right? So that's why a master is their property type. Now this master we are going to use when we are going to create the property. So then we have site. So from here we will be able to create the site, and here we need to provide the property type, like this particular site is a flat or a land or a showroom or something else. Fine. Once we create the site, we will need another API to insert the properties into that. So this is the another API, property ID, and here site ID will be foreign key. So once we create the site, once we create the properties, then next step, booking. So this is the booking API. So here we need to provide the customer ID and everything. But we will have the form like this. Where is the booking form? Like, so if customer is already existed, we will write the logic like that, but just a UI is there. So while booking, we need to provide the customer detail also and the booking detail also, like which particular site, which particular flat number he is booking, what is the booking rate, total amount, remaining thing. Fine. Now, let me just start the project. So I have created the project and basic thing also done. Just the initial project I have created. Let me just open it. V18 property booking underscore 18. So this is the project I have created. Again, the project is with Angular 18. And one more thing, these are the various modules we are going to have. So first site portal, then property booking, and we will have several report and the login page. So login API is not there, but just a hardcode login we are going to try. Now this is just an Angular 18 project, empty project. Apart from that, just I have installed the Bootstrap. After installing Bootstrap, so this is the command to create the project. Once you create the project, you can install Bootstrap if you want to Bootstrap. If you are going to use Material, you can install Material. I'm using Bootstrap and the font awesome. Once you install Bootstrap and the font awesome, you need to add CSS to the Angular.json. So in CSS style section, you need to add it like this. Let's say while running the project, you need to run the project on particular port number, that is 4209. So by default, application will run on 4200. So if you have to run it on the separate port, ng serve -hyphen port 4209. Let's run it. So this is the basic setup. Project it created after Bootstrap and the font awesome. I have just added same links to the angular.json. After that, we need to create the component. So as we said, like these are the various modules. So site, property booking, and the reports. So like that, we will create the component first. So app folder, inside that we will create pages folder. Again, inside pages, let me open the terminal. So first component, ng generate component, login component I will create. Again, this is an admin application, so we will need the login page and the layout page also. So layout page we will use just to put our navbar, because once user hit our application, he should only able to see the login page. If he log in, then he should navigate back to the dashboard or somewhere, and there he will be able to see the navigation. So navigation navbar we will put it into the layout component. So that's why the extra component I'm creating layout. Then property type component. Wait, spelling mistake is there. This is just master component. Then we will have site. In each component, we will try the different CRUD mechanism so that maximum topic or maximum scenarios we can cover. Property, then booking. Fine. So these are the initial component which we need. Let's create one more, that is dashboard. That will be a landing page once user login. So once you create the component, next thing is we have to create the routes. So app route.ts is there. So previously app route.ts was a module file, but after Angular 17, it's just a constant file. And here we need to create the routes. So again, whenever we are creating an admin application, so not just admin application, every application, we should have a default route. So let's create a default route. So first path will be empty. And if path is empty, where we need the redirect to. It's not suggesting redirect to. One more thing is in Angular 18, we have a new feature that redirect to. Previously with redirect to, we can only pass the other path. But now from Angular 18, we can write a function also. So if you see over here, we can either pass a string or a function also. So this is the new thing which we have got from Angular 18. Login. Then redirect, sorry, path match strategy with full URL we need to match it. So this is my default route. After default route, we need to create our login path. Component, login component. Fine. So these are the routes which will be up before the login, right? So by default, if we don't have anything a URL, it will redirect to the login. Now we have created a layout component. So layout component will act as a parent component after app component. Means if you are not logged in, your app component will be your parent component. But once you log in, after that layout component will be your parent component. So for that, we can create path. Again, it will be empty, but component will be layout. Now in layout component, we are just going to put our navbar, nothing else, and the router outlet to render the activated route. And here, all the component which we are going to access after login, it will be part of the children to the layout component. Means all the components will be children of this layout component. So again, path. So let's say path. First component I will be creating dashboard component, dashboard component. So this routing structure will be used if your application is admin application. If your application is website kind of application, you don't need this kind of application, this kind of routing structure. Fine. Let's create one or two. Path. Five. Okay. So just two routes I'm creating. So this is the default route routing structure you need to have in case of the admin application. Now let's just run the application also. It is running. Let's save and check if we are able to see the login page. 2209. So see, by default, login page is coming, but in the app component, we have this HTML. So let's remove that. Now in app component, we just need to have router outlet. Let's say, so now you can see login component is visible. Let's get the login page code. Let's use the code pen and see something. Let's use this one. So whenever you are copying template, login template from somewhere, so just get the code from the body, not everything, right? So just the content, this we have to put it into the login component. Then we need the CSS also, and CSS you need to get it from the body, but body we don't have it. So we will create one more parent component to handle that. So instead of body, we don't have body in our component. So here what I will do, I will add parent class. And this parent class, I will again one more div I have to create, which will act as a parent component. Parent. And all the content we have to move inside this parent component. Let's save, same login page should be available. See? So whenever you are copying something from the code pane or any template, so that is considering HTML page. So it will have a body CSS, but you don't have that, right? Body in the component, we don't have body. So you just need to create one more parent div and you just need to add the CSS of the body to that parent div. Fine. Now login component is there. Now we have decided like we don't have API for the login. So we will do the hardcode login. So for hardcode login also, now it just a login component. So we will first start with the reactive form. So if you have to use the reactive form, first you need to add reactive form module. This is the first thing. Then you need to create the form. So let's say user form is equal, sorry, colon form group is equal to new form group, round bracket, curly bracket, enter. This is an initial, this is very basic form. Inside this form, we need to create the control. It's a login page. We will have user ID and the password. So let's say username, colon, new, sorry, form control. We will initialize with empty value, then password, colon, new, form control. Fine. Now, if you need to, why it is giving error? Form control. So this is very basic default initialization. If you need to add the validation again, after initialization, you can add square bracket, validators dot required. Why array? Because multiple validation we can add. So likewise you can add, but I'm not just covering the validation part. It will increase the video length. So basic form we have created. Now we need to bind this form to our form. So in HTML, this is our form tag. So let's remove this action, square bracket, form group. We need to provide the form. So whatever the form we have created, we binded this form to our form from the HTML template. Now here, this is the first text box. So form control name is equal to whatever the control name we have provided, that is username. It will go over here. Let's copy paste. Always try to copy paste. Otherwise, if we make the spelling mistake again, we will get the error. Fine. Now on click of login, we need to write the function. So click on login. Now, as we said, we are going to do the hardcode login. So hardcode login means just checking in the function directly. Sorry. So in if condition, this dot, what I will do first, I will get the form value. So constant form value is equal to this dot user form dot value. So it will get us the object of whole form, means username and the password. So form value dot username is equal to, let's say username should be admin, and form value dot password is equal to, let's say 112233. If user provide this credential, we need to navigate to dashboard component. So again, from .ts we are going to navigate. So obviously we need to create the instance of router. So new thing, what we have got from Angular 16, that is we can either use the dependency injection using constructor, or we can make use of the inject. What we need to inject? Router service. Now this dot router dot navigate by URL, and where we have to navigate, that is, let's just get the route, that is dashboard. So once user login, by default it will navigate to the dashboard. Else block. So if user didn't provide admin and the username, it means wrong credential. So in the alert box I will say wrong credentials. Let's just test this if we are able to navigate. Let's just provide the wrong credential. On click of login, wrong credential is message is coming. Let's provide the correct credential, login. So now you can see we are able to navigate. I'm not showing the debug also. Considering like this video is not for just the beginner. If you already have all the knowledge, then only it will be beneficial. Fine. So login component work is done. Let's complete. Now, once user is logged in, we are able to navigate back to the dashboard. But we have navigated to the dashboard, but component is loading it layout. So as I said, before login, your parent component will be app. But once you log in, your parent component will be layout component. Fine. So now here we need to have RouterOutlet. Then only it will render this layout component. So let's get the bootstrap navbar. I will get the sidebar. Instead of top navbar, I will be using this. Let's inspect. So let's get the code, edit as HTML, copy. Now my navbar will go into layout component. And again over here, let me just get the structure. Instead of row column, I'm just going to get the flex structure. I'm not good with CSS part. So my navbar ending is not visible. Okay. So my navbar will go into this. Then 20 we have given over here. Then we have left 80%. And here we will need router outlet. So from Angular 17, whatever you are going to use, you need to import that. So if you have to use router outlet, you need to import it. So router outlet, then only you can use it. Fine. Let's just try to save. Now we should be able to see the dashboard page. So now it is visible, but why it is going inside? And this is also not taking full screen. So for that, I think VH100 we need to add. Let's try. Yeah, so it is coming, and we can remove this static width. Yeah, so now you can see we have the navbar and dashboard component is visible. So as I said, like after login, this will be your parent component. Here navbar will be there, and activated route will be available over here component, wherever we have said router outlet. Fine. So our login component is done. Let's add the navigation. So first say property booking we will try. So after home, dashboard is there, right? Let's say property type. First master we are going to complete. Now, so on click of this property link, we have to navigate to the property type route. So for that, we need to use router link. So for router link also, again, you need to import. So router link, then only you can use the router link. So router link is equal to, we need to provide the routes. So that is property hyphen type. Let's provide it over here. Let's say, so now if I click on property type, see, we are able to navigate. Okay, dashboard was not added. Let's add the dashboard also. So property and dashboard. So we are able to navigate. But why class? It's not highlighting. Why it's not highlighting? Active. Okay. Okay. So by default, router has one functionality, that is router link class, right? So let's add that router link active, and router link active is equal to active class we need to add. So whatever the activated route is there, it will add that particular active class or on that specific link. Let's try. Yeah. So see, property type is activated. So that is highlighted. If I click on dashboard, that is getting highlighted. So instead of writing code to highlight the activated route, you can make use of this also. It is by default provided by Angular. So make use of it. Let's close everything. Let me just pause the video, then we can get the questions. So now first thing we are going to do is the property type. So let's see the API. So property type, it's a simple one. Do we have bulk outlet API? I think no. Add property type, get all property type, add property type, update and the delete. Okay, it's a simple only, but let's go with the normal flow. Where is property type? Now, so it doesn't matter like if you are doing practice or anything, always make sure API call and interface and class, everything you should create. So first, I'm just going to get the UI. UI I have already created. So I think for that I have not created, but let's use the customer one. Same will be there. So this is the container. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Okay. My table is not visible. Let me get the table. Fine. So UI is there. We just need to change the field. We just have two fields. So now if we see the API, so we have property type ID and the property type. It's a simple master. So only actually just the property type. So UI we can adjust, like we don't need the whole screen. So what you can do over here, you can show the list, and in the side panel, you can just show the form. So let's do like that. So for that, let's create a row column structure. Let's say call 8. And inside the call 8, we will have our table. So this will go over here. And then we have call 4. And in call 4, we will have our form. Let's move it over here. Let's just save. Right. And we just have one field, that is property type. We don't need remaining. Add. But let's make it save. Let's just add some padding. Fine. So our UI is created. Why it is not taking space? Yeah. Okay. Now in the table also, we don't have so many things, just the property name is there. So here property type is there. And we will need the action button to add and the update like this. Fine. So we have the basic card and every design is created. Now we have to write the Angular code. So first thing, we need to create the interface. So inside app folder, we will create one more folder that will be, let's say, models. Inside model, we will create our master TS, master.ts, and here we will create our interface. So for so many guys have the question like when we should create the class and when we should create the interface. So whenever you are creating, what do we say? When you are going to bind the data, means for get API, you can go for the interface. But when it comes to form initialization, when you are going to bind the form, so go for the class. So export interface, and in this component, we will go with the reactive. So we don't need the class. What is it? Property type. Whenever you are creating interface, always try to start with the I. So that will denote like it's a interface. So this is the industry standard we follow. So if you are preparing for interviews also, make sure in machine test you do like that. So that will showcase your skill. So this is with number and this is with data type string. So we have created our interface. Fine. Now we have to create the form first. So let's say just a form name I am giving :form group. Sorry, reactive form model we need to add. Now here what I will do, I will just initialize the form. I won't means just form object I have created, but I won't initialize it. Okay, I will tell you the reason why. So I will create one more method, create or initialize form. And inside this, we will initialize the actual form. So this dot form is equal to new form group. Because when we do the reset or when we do the update, again, we need to reinitialize the form. So it's better to have a dedicated function. Otherwise, repeated code will be there. Repeated code will be there if you initialize form over here. Again, in case of edit and in case of repeat, again, you will be initializing it. So it's better to have a dedicated function like this. Fine. Now, what things we have? So property type, colon new, form control here. So in login page, we have just said like this is very basic initialization of the reactive form. So here we didn't specify anywhere like what will be the data type of this. So by default, we initialize the string value. That's why it is taking string, but we can do the typely coupled form also. So over here, this is a control. So in property type ID, what type of data I'm going to have? So number like this. And then we can initialize, let's say by default, we initialize with 0. This is our first control. Then let's get the second one, that is property type. Colon new, form control. This is our type, data type string. It will be initialized with empty. Fine. So whenever you are appearing for the machine test now, if you create your form like this, so this will set you apart from other 10 candidates. I guarantee that because no one will initialize form like this. So this is how we work when we work in actual projects. So this is how we create the reactive form. If we say the market now, let's say 80% or 70% projects are mostly deal with reactive form. Very less projects are will go with the template. Again, it's like scenario based, but mostly big project or in industry proper enterprise level application will always push you to use reactive form because so many proper things are there. Okay. Now, so this form we need to initialize also. So in constructor, I will call this method. So this dot initialize form. Now we have created the form. Let's bind it to the HTML also. So here cardboard is there, form tag was there. So square bracket, form group, our form name. Then we just have a single text box. So form controller name is equal to, we will complete the validation also. It's a small form. Property type. We never bind the primary key. Okay. So this is our primary key, property type ID. So we never bind it anywhere and we don't display it also anywhere else. That is only for our use. It is not required to display in the UI. Whoever is going to use the application, he doesn't need to know the ID. Okay. Now, so we will just complete the validation also. Let's, while initializing form also, we need to initialize validation. So comma square bracket, let's say validators dot required validation, then validators dot, let's say min length. So let's say min length at least 5 character he needs to provide. Okay, so only 2 validation required and the min length. So let's add that over here. So after this, let's create text danger class. So we will get that red text. And here we will have a span. So first if statement. Okay. So first if statement I will use that form is means particular control is touch or not. Or let's first do, or let me write it directly. Form dot controls square bracket property type dot touched. Okay, so if that is touched, then only we need to render this div. Now inside this also we have two span. So again at the if statement. So first, for the first time, we need to show the required one. So let's get this errors square bracket dot. I think it will suggest no. Required. Where is the error? Question mark. What is it saying? Required all three expressions. Dot errors. Something dot errors question mark dot square bracket required. Fine. So if it is required, we need to show a message for the required, like let's say this is required. Then again at the rate if for the min length. So let's copy this. And here instead of required, the second error will be min length. And here we will say like minimum 5 characters is required. Let's just save and check if we are able to see proper validation. So see, by default, if we don't touch, validation is not coming. But now validation is coming. And by default, first validation, this is required. If user types something, then second validation is coming. Once provided all the values, then validation is also going away. Right? So validation is working. But if form is not valid, we need to disable the button also. Right now, button is visible, enable. So let's disable that also. So what we can do, we can use the form instance directly. So over here, disabled form dot valid or invalid. Let's check. Let's enable. Let's add a not value or invalid property. Okay. So see, by default button is disabled, but if we provide the proper value, then it's got enabled. Fine. So basic UI is completed, validation is also completed, form is also we have created. Next thing is API call function. So now we will create our first service. So in app component, we can create a folder service. And inside that, I will create a service that will be named as master. ng generate service master. And inside this master service, we will create our API call functions. Now, so from Angular 17, we don't have app model, right? But we have app config. So to make the API call, you need to import provide HTTP client over here in provides array. So provide HTTP client. This is the first thing to make the API call. After that, normal way. So here private HTTP colon HTTP client. Now we will need just the get API call, all the 4 CRUD operation. So get all property type, normal function, but this function is going to return API data. So return this dot HTTP dot get. Now, so in a single project, we will have the basic API call same. Means up till here, it will be common. Just the method name is going to change. So this common part, I will put it into a, either we can create environment. So let's create environment. So by default, we don't get the environment folder, but we can create that. So let's open a new terminal. ng generate environments. Make sure you add s, then only it will work. So you can see it has what it has created. It has created 2 files and it has updated angular.json also. Okay. Now in environment.js, I will create API URL. And here I will put my common URL over here also and over here also. Fine. Now in my service, I will get environment dot API URL. Fine. Now here you can see we will get URL up till over here only. After that, we need to add the method. So then you can either use concatenation or template literal, whatever you feel. Then this is the get API call. So this is my method name. It will go over here. Now, if you see, this is just, let's keep this function normal. So this is a normal function. It is correct also. Now let's call this function into our component. So this is our component. So on the page load means once my component initialize, I need to call I need to make that API call. So I can implement our on init lifecycle event. Implement on init. And once we implement on init, it will ask us to implement on ng on init function. Now we can either make the API call function in ng on init, that is also fine. But once we save and delete, and edit. Again, we are going to make the API call. So for that, it's better to have separate function. Get all, get grid data. Just a anonymous function name I'm giving because it's this function is going to get the grid data. So this dot. Again, now we have the service. So we need to create the instance of our service. So master SRV is equal to inject master service. So now this dot master service dot get, only one function is there currently, and that function is returning data type of observable. So we can subscribe to it. Subscribe result colon. Now all my APIs are going to return the data type of this model, message, result, and data. So let's create interface of that so that everything will be strongly coupled. Model. Let's copy. I will name it as API response model. What things we get? Message. It will be string. Then we have result, it will be Boolean, and the data. Data will be any because sometimes we will get array, sometimes we will get object like that. Data with any. Now this we have to provide over here like this. Sorry, our interface name. It will go over here. Let's add the import. Now it will throw the error because when we say the return type of this function, we say we didn't specify the return type. It's coming object. Now, if you don't specify the return type, how you can provide the return type over here? Like what type of data you are going to get from over here. So we need to provide the return type over there also. So this function is going to return the observable type of data. So that's why observable. But what type of observable data? I response model. This kind of data I'm going to get. So now if you go to again your component, now error won't be there. Getting it? Because now this function is also returning the same type of response and we are specifying the same type of response over here. Right? Now we need the local variable to store the data. So grid data colon. Now we are going to get the data of this interface. So I property type. So let's use it over here. Square bracket is equal to initialize to 0. Empty. Let's add the input. Whatever the data we get that we need to store into this variable. So grid data is equal to res.data. And this function we have to call on the page load. Fine. So this is the first component we are doing the CRUD operation. So very basic thing we will go. In next component, instead of writing the basic code, we will again move forward to the next step so that we will cover whatever possible scenarios we can. And the data we are getting now that we can iterate. So over here, this is our TR. So here we can write the @for loop. This TR is going to be iteratable. So it will put over here. Index we can access like this. Index will by default start with 0. So we can increment it with 1. And here we just need to show the property type. So item dot. So now you can see this is the benefit of your interfacing strongly typed variables. So you get everything IntelliSense. Let's save, let's save. Let's see. Now on the page load, we should be able to see the API call. I think all pages are not saved properly. Let's save all. Let's reload. So now my API call is not visible. Let's try to debug. Property type component. Oh, new code is not coming. Let's save it again one more time. I have saved, but still it is not compiling. Do we have any error? Okay, yes, we have some error where it is saying object is written in service. Okay, sorry. So here also after get also we need to provide the return type. So this model will go over here. That was the error. Okay. So whenever you provide the return type in case of API calls, after get also you need to provide the return type, like what type of data you are going to return. Yeah, so now it compiled properly. Now in the network tab, you can see one API call is there. And from API, only one data is there. So that data is visible over here. Fine. So our get operation is done. Next is save operation. So in again service, I will just copy paste now. Now this will be save property. It will be post, but we have to pass the object. So we will receive the object over here, and that too with data type this model I property. Let's add the import, and our API URL will be add property type. Always try to copy paste the URLs also. We make the spelling mistake again, 500 will come. Always. Again, I'm hard coding this, but this should also come from the constant. After some time, we will try to do that. So see, once I make this post, it is throwing me the error because for post API, we need to pass URL and the object. So object we will pass over here. Okay. So our API call is there. Now on click of save, so we have the save button. Submit is there now. Let's make it button. Now here on click of save, on save. Let's create this function. Okay. Now here we are going to make the API call. So this dot master service dot save property function. Now this function needs the proper object. So we have the form. So this dot form dot value that will get us the object. So this dot form dot value dot subscribe round bracket result colon same API response model. In case of save, update, and the delete, you need to add a result check, like if it is success or not. So if result is true, if means whatever the API call you are doing, that is success, you will get true over here. Then you can just use the alert box and record saved, just a generic message I'm giving. And if there is some error from the API also, you will get the error from API in the message field. And once API call is success, we need to show the latest record also. So you can call this over here. So once API call is success, again, you are calling the get API. So latest record will be visible. Let's save and try now. So you can see on the page load, we had this get API call. Now, if I try, let's say property type, let's say plot on click ops. Oh, we provided minimum character as 5. Let's reduce that. Okay, now on click of save, we should be able to see one API call, but we have got 400. Now let's check why 400. So 400 means what API needs, whatever the model it needs, but we didn't send something like that. Some improper data is there. So see, property type, it's a cannot deserialize. Let's say what is the property type, but it's 0 only. Why it's saying deserialize? Object is also proper. Cannot deserialize name because the required type was JSON. Oh, let me just see. Okay, I got it wrong. So if you see this API, this is a bulk update API. See, this API needs array. Getting it? See, this is a bulk update. I forgot to change the name of it. This was a bulk update API. So we cannot send an object. It needs an array. So for now, what I will do, whatever the object we will get, I wanted to do this as a bulk update. Let it be right now. So let's create a new array constant. obj is equal to square bracket, and I will pass just this first element. And then this element, I will pass it over here. Let's try now. Because that API needs array. Okay, so that's why we got the 400. Let's try. Save. So now you can see it got success because we have sent array, and inside that we single object. Fine. So you can see the record is also visible. So this is like get and the post operation. Then edit. So for edit, we don't need one API is there to, okay, API is not there. So on click of edit, what we need to do, we just need to reinitialize our form with the value. So from our HTML edit function. So click event on edit, and we need to pass the whole object. So that is item. Let's create this function. Now we are going to get the whole object. So item of data type, same. Where is the data type? iProperty type. Okay. Now, so see, when we created this function initialize form, this function was, it was like, it was initializing every time it was initializing the field with 0 and the empty value. But now we have to use this same function, but it should render the whatever the object we get. So we just need to change it now. So this function will have a parameter. So item colon iProperty type. Okay. And item dot property ID, we will bind it over here. Oh, it will say, oh, it's a number only, na? Small capital. Why it is saying small capital? Okay. Boolean. Okay. And here instead of this empty, we will add item dot property type. Now we can call this function over here, and we can pass this object. So our form will be initialized with the value we passed. Okay. Let's just save and check. Where we are getting error. Why we are getting error? Okay, somewhere else we have called. And now here also we need to pass it. So let's pass. Now, so this function we have modified this function like it should receive a data type of this. So what we can do, we can just make it optional. Okay. So if it is optional, so by default it will be undefined. So now it is error is not there. So here also we can just add a ternary thing. So if item is there, it will be using this item, otherwise 0. Sorry. Like this. Item question mark is there, otherwise empty. Okay. Let's save and check now. So now if I click on this edit button, you can see my form got initialized. So let's change it. Flat. Okay, we didn't write the function. Now this is an update case. So instead of save button, because for update we have one more API, update property. And this is a normal API. It doesn't require an array. It's a put API, right? So let's quickly create the function also. Let's just copy, paste. Instead of save, it is update. We don't need array. Whatever the object we will get, we will pass it. Instead of post, it will be put. Fine. Okay, URL change is also there. Let's get the URL. This URL will go over here. Now, in the UI also, we will have two buttons, save and the update. So if, how do we are going to decide, like we need to show the save and the submit, save and the update button. So if condition, if form has the value form dot controls, that is our property type ID. So if it is a new phase, so value is equal to 0. So we will show our save button. or directly we can use the else. And in else, we will showcase the update button. Let's use warning class over here. Let's just see this. So by default, you can see save button is there. If we click on edit, you can see update button is there. Fine. We have created our API call. Let's create the component function also. So just like on save, we will have one more function on update. And here, instead of save, it will be update API call function. Record updated. Let's save and check. Edit instead of flat. Now on click of update, we will have add API call is still there. Let's try again. Flat. Okay. Why add properties only there? Post. Okay, same function I'm calling. On click of update, we need to call another function. Let's do that. So on click of edit, flat, update. So now you can see updated. And after update, we got the get all API call. So latest record is also visible. Now just the last part, that is the delete one. So for delete, let's create the function. So on delete, let's check the API first. So for delete, normally we just need to pass the ID. See, just ID we need to pass. Just see, and we need the URL. So our method name should be like this. So let's copy. Let's go to service and let's create our delete API call. And this will go over here. And this function will need ID. That will be with data type number. And this ID we will pass it over here plus this. Fine. Now, for deleting, we just need to pass the ID. So there is no need to send the whole object. So you just have to send the property type ID. So let's create this function. We are going to get the ID. So let's catch it. Now, whenever you are deleting, always we need to ask for the confirmation. So for that, we will use our confirm box. Confirm. Are you sure want to delete? Sorry. So if user clicks on OK, we will get true. And if so here we inside if condition, we just need to write our normal API call function. So let's copy and over here, delete property by type ID. And this ID as a parameter, we need to pass it over here. And record deleted message we will give. Let's save and check if we are able to make the API call and we are able to delete it. Let's open the network tab. So now if we click on the delete, we are getting that confirm box. If we click on cancel, see, nothing is happening. But if we click on delete and if we click on OK, now you can see one API call is there, but we are getting error. Let's see why. So now you can see, I think in the service we have put it as get only. It should be delete. So this will be delete. Let's try now. Now if we click on delete and if we click on OK, now you can see it is success. Record deleted, and on after that we are making the get API call. So you can see that record also got deleted. So just the basic CRUD operation we have completed. Now, so after property type, next thing we have to go for the site creation. Let me just go property booking. So first we have to do the site. So now for site, this is the object we need. So let's create an constructor of it, or let's use we will use template form now, because in the earlier two in login and the property booking we have used template. So let's use template form now over here. So now I'm using a site which will convert JSON to TS. So convert. Let's get it quickly converted. So this is the object, and let's copy it. Which should be site where we will get constructor JSON to TypeScript class. Let's try. It's giving interface only. We need the class. Anyway, let's get it. So first thing, let's close it. Now, either you can create one more service also, or you can put all your API call into a single service also. If your API call functions are limited, so you can create only single service, that is also beneficial. But if your application is big, we create multiple services to just separate out the API calls. Fine. Now in master.ts, we will create our class. So let's copy paste, export class. Now this class is for site. Okay, so once we create a class, it will ask us to initialize it. So we will have access to the constructor because it's a class. And now in constructor, we just have to initialize all the properties with its default value. So just make sure the primary key, that is site ID, you have to initialize with 0, because when you are making an API call to insert new record, you have to send it value 0. Fine. So let me just initialize all the properties like this. So like this, I have initialized all the fields, whatever we have. Now, let me just open the YouTube project template. We need the UI. So we just created only one route, right? So let's create the route also. So let's copy, paste, site, master, and the component we have to open is site component. Let's add it in the navigation also. Again, in the layout page, survey, let's see. Over here, whatever the route name we have given, that is site-master. So same, you need to pass it over here. And this will be site master. Let's just see if we are able to navigate first. If we click on site, it's not able to navigate. Save. Let's check one more time. Site master router link, correct only. But why we are not able to navigate? Let's see if we have any error. Site. It's saying site master, it cannot find. So this file is not saved or what? Site master is there. Why it is showing like this? It is not able to find this site master route. It is same, and here also we are using the same. Let's try to compile it one more time. Sometimes happen when working with local, it might refer to the old cache or something. Let's try again. No, still it is going the same. Cannot match any route. Site master. Okay, so here you can see, I think we have single double quote, extra double quote is there. Let's get rid of that. Got it? Let's try now. Yeah. So now we are able to navigate. Now, in the site component, again, we are going to use template form now. So we have created constructor for that. Let's get the UI also. So this is the site detail UI. No, sorry, this is the UI site. Let's copy this and let's put it into our component. So now UI is coming. So in property type, what we have done, it was a simple, and this doesn't have any many fields were there. Let's add some color proper to the sidebar. It's not looking good. Make sure whenever you are appearing for the machine test also, your UI should be proper. It won't matter, but your UI should be proper. Like card header is there. So let's add BG warning color. And same thing over here also. Now it will look proper. So see, by just adding a red background color, it is looking proper now. So same like that over here also. Here what we did, in a single view, list view also visible and the form was also visible. But now here, so many fields are there, right? So what we can do, we can just do the toggle. So at a time, only list will be visible or the form. So for that, we will create one variable. Let me just close this other folder. Now, so here I will create one variable. Now we just need to toggle that. So instead of normal variable, what we will use? We will use the signal. So that latest thing, whatever we have, that we will cover. So is form view is equal to signal. What type of data we are going to store? So Boolean. And default false value we will set it. So we have created form view. Okay. So we have created a signal. In that signal, we are going to store Boolean type of data. Now this signal, we can use it over here. So this is our first card and this is our second card. So now at the rate if we can use signal. How do we read signal? As a method. So if this variable or this signal has a true value, so we will have a form, or at the rate else, we will have this other card. So let's just save and check. So by default, you can see we are able to see the list. Now, if we change the variable to true, so our form should be visible, correct? Now we just need to toggle this. So to do that, let's get rid of this title. What we can do, we have this header, right? So in the header, we will add row column structure, col 6. And in first column, we will have this header. And in second column, we will have the button. Now this is a form view. So let's click on go to list. Now on click of this, what we need to do, we just need to set the value of that variable. So that is nothing but this variable value we need to change. So what we can do, either we can, let's go just with the normal page. Only single function we will use, toggle view. So now here, this signal we need to set. So this dot signal dot set method is there and not of this value. Sorry. So if this signal has a true value, it will store false. If it is false, we will store true. And this function we need to call over here. Let's add text end class. Let's copy this and put it into other card also over here. Let's just see if the toggle is working properly or not. Let's save all. Unexpected closing of div somewhere. Yes. Let's save. So now you can see if I click, but why class is not visible button? Okay, sorry. btn was there. Let's try. So now you can see by default form is visible. If I click over here, you can see we are able to toggle. Fine. Now we will start with the CRUD operation. So now we are able to toggle. Now let's start with the CRUD operation. So if we see the site object, so site ID is our primary key. So we normally don't showcase primary key anywhere in the form, either form or in the table. We don't showcase primary key. Then site title, location, property type, this property type ID. So whatever the property type we created, that we have to show it over here. This is a foreign key. So we need to show the drop down of property type. So for that get API also we need to do city, pin code, created date and last updated date. So this also we don't need to put it into the form. Just by default new date we will be able to send it. Fine. So let's just create a form for that. So we already have created our class, right? So now this class with our reactive form, template form we are going to do. So first of all, whenever we are going to use the template form, forms module we need to add. This is the first thing. Then we just need to create an object of that class. So let's say form obj colon, it will be an instance of site, new site like this. So it's a class. So we can create a constructor of it like this. So we can initialize it by using new. Fine. So we have initialized our particular object. Now this object we need to bind to our form. So this is our form. So we will use ngModel directive. Form object dot. So this is title. So title. So see, this is the benefit of doing hard coding. Means if you have created interface, so everything will get intelligence. It will suggest what are the properties. Otherwise, there is a chance we will make the spelling mistake. Now here we are going to need the drop down. So for now, I will let it be as it is. City, pin code, then state. In normal application for city, state, we will have the drop down. We will get the API data from API side, but it's just a prototype we are doing, so it doesn't matter. Fine. Now we have created instance and that instance we have binded to our form also. But let's check if we have the form. Yeah. So one more thing, if you are using ngModel inside a form tag, name attribute gets mandatory. So name, same property we need to provide it over here. Let me just copy paste quickly. Otherwise it will throw you that error. Now we just need to copy paste these properties over here. I'm trying not to skip anything so that if you do the exact same thing, I'm confident that your application will work. Location, site title. Fine. So now we need to show the property type over here. So this will be drop down, right? So let's create a drop down over here. And inside that we will have option. Now this drop down data, it should not be static because we have a master for property type. Recently we have created, see, whatever the property type we have that we need to showcase. Let's say flat. Let's say shop. So three property type I have: flat, plot, and the shop. Now this I need to show over here. So for that, we need to make the API call. Now, here we are going to make one more concept, that is async pipe. So now a traditional way will be, we will create a function and we will get the data from that and we will store it into variable and then we will bind it. But that is just unnecessary work. Why? Again, like we need to unsubscribe, those things are there. So instead of doing that, we can create an observable. So see, sorry, what is it? Property types. Whenever we are creating observable, make sure you add a dollar over here. So this is the standard we follow, colon, observable. What type of data we are going to store? Property type. So this we can pass it over here and it's going to be array also. Let's add the import is equal to new observable. So this is how we are initializing our observable. Fine. Now in the constructor, so first we have to create the instance of our master service. So master, because we have already created our API call, correct? So this is the benefit of creating services. So if you need one particular API call in multiple components, you don't have to write again and again. You just have to refer to that function, master service. Now in the constructor, to this observable, we need to assign the data. So this dot master service dot, what will be the API call? Get all property type, like that. Because, wait, why it is showing error? Oh, now here is thing, this function is returning a data type of iResponse model, but in that we have the data, so that we are going to need. So here we can add a map operator, sorry, pipe. We just need to pass a particular data, then map operator, item, colon, API response model. What was it? IAPI. Return item dot data only we need. So see, now error is gone because this, what is the data type we said? Like we are going to store the array of this, and this function was returning an object of this. So from that we needed the data. Okay, so that's why we are using pipe and the map operator. Now this observable we can directly use in the HTML. So instead of subscribing, creating variable, then using that on the ngFor, we can directly subscribe in the HTML. So by doing this, we don't have to unsubscribe the things. I will come to that why we need to do that. So here, sorry, normal at the rate for loop. So here async pipe we need to use again. So if you have to use any pipe, you need to import that. So here async pipe, then only you can use it. Async. Fine. Now this our option will go inside the for loop. This will be with property binding. What we need to bind? Property type ID, item dot property type ID. And while displaying, we will display the property name. So item dot property type. Let's just save and check if we are able to make the API call. So here you can see data is coming. You just need to add that form select class we need to add. So see, whatever the data we have inserted, that is coming, but we just need a placeholder. We don't want first option to be getting selected. So let's just add a basic option, select property type. Fine. So our form is ready. Now on click of save, we need to make the API call. Let me show you the basic validation also. Now in template form, what we need to do, we need to create a hash property like this. Hash, let's say this is site title. Or let's just create a title is equal to what we need to store, ng model, like this. And after that, we same thing like that, whatever we have used over here, not just like that, we need to use it, but little bit change will be there. I'm just explaining you for the first element. then remaining you can do like same wise. So now instead of form and this, you can directly do like this. Remaining code will be same as it is. Fine. Now, but validation you need to apply on the HTML side, like required min length, so required, then min length, let's say min length 4 character like this. Let's just save and check also if validation is coming proper. So see, this is required is coming if I pass, right? So a small code change. Fine. So this is how you can do the validation remaining thing. Now we need to write the service call first. So in our master service, we are going to need the save post API call. So I'm just copy pasting. Now our method will be, let's get the method add sites. Okay, see add sites. So make sure you copy paste. Sometimes you will say add site, but now I have given the name as add site. So make sure you copy paste. Fine. This will be save site. Now this function we need to call on the button click. So we have the save button. Instead of submit, let's make it button. Click on save. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. So this dot master service dot save save site. And what we need to pass the object. So this dot form object dot subscribe round bracket result I API response model. Why it is saying like this? Okay, we didn't change the data type over here. I site. Right? And here, since it's a post API call, so we need to add that result check. Alert. Record save. And once it is saved, we need to, okay, get API call is still remaining, but let's just complete first site creation. And whatever the message we get from the API side, message. So just like this, we need the get API also. So let's complete that. Again, to get the get API data, we will go with the normal approach. And we will try to use the ngFor also, so that the old concept also we will cover. Now we will need one more function. So let me just copy paste. Okay, first service. First we need to write the API call also. It will be like this. So our get all site. This will be the API call. It will go over here. Fine. Now this API call we need to make on the page load. So let's implement on init. So whenever you explain on init, whenever you are preparing for the interview, so ng on init is the thing which we use to trigger the API call function. We should not trigger API call function from constructor. So we should trigger our API call from our ng on init. So that is the right purpose of it. Let me just copy paste this. Get grid data. Get all sites. We don't need parameter over here. And whatever the data it is going to send, we need to store it also. So sites, let's make it grid data. What type of data I'm going to get? Site, but array like this. Now, whatever the data we get, that we need to store it also in that variable. So this dot grid data is equal to res dot data. And this function we need to call on the page load. So over here, this dot grid data we need to call. And whatever the data we are receiving, that we need to print it also. So let's go over here. So now, instead of using @for loop control flow statement, I'm going with the old way. So if you have to use ngFor, now you have to import common module. So common module you have to use. So now from Angular 17, questions are being asked like, why should we only use control flow statement? Why should not we use normal directives? Because unnecessary you need to import this. Because to use @if and for loop, you don't need to import anything, right? But if you have to use ngFor and ngIf, you need to import it. So that's the answer you should give. Now, so this is the TR we need to iterate. So @for loop, sorry, star ngFor let data of grid data. And we need the index also. So let SR is equal to index. And here we need to print the index. So SR plus 1, index will start from 0. And then over here, so data dot title, we will show it over here. Let me just copy paste so that our time will be saved. Now, it's not required that whatever data you are getting from the API call, all you need to show. You can show the limited data also. So site title, location, city, state, and total properties. Only some data I'm showing. So let's just save all. Let's see if we are able to see the data. Let's reload one more time to see the API call is going or not. Yes, get all site. Do we have data? No, it's empty. So obviously table will be empty. One more thing, if table is empty, we should show some message, like no data found. So let's write that. Whenever you are working on an admin application, all these small thing you need to take care. Even if you are appearing for the machine test also, if you cover this line, this kind of code also, it will showcase your skill set. That will make you apart from the other candidates. So always make sure these small things make a huge impact when you are appearing for the interview. Now, what we need to do, if the array is empty, we need to showcase something else. So ng container I will use. Always use ng container wherever you don't need extra div or something. So if the ngIf star ngIf I'm going to use dot length equal to 0. If it equal to 0, we will need the tr and one td, but with call span. What will the call span? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here we will show, we will get the paragraph, no record found. Fine. And we will need another also. If length is not equal to 0, then we will showcase our tr like this. So this simple piece of code will serve our purpose. So see, no record found. Let's add a center class also. Class text hyphen center. Fine. Now, let's try to create our first record. We made the API call and everything. Yes. So let's just try now to create a site. So let's say site title is Brahma RP. Let's say Pune, Baner, Pune. Property type, let's say I'm having a flat scheme. So flat, Pune, pin code 00998, something dummy data I'm entering, Maharashtra. Then total property, let's say I have around 45 flats. Fine. Now let's check. Now on click of save, we should make our API call. Yeah, we got 400. Let's check why. Why property type ID? For property type ID, it is showing, oh, property type ID is not going. Why it's not going? We selected it. Oh, we forgot to bind ng model. See, ng model is not there. So how it is going to get the selected ID, right? So let's put it over here. Property type ID and same goes to the name also. Now again, we have to fill the data. Let's fill it one more time. Maner, flat, Pune, 45. Let's try now. On click of save. So see, API call is success because we send all the proper data. And after, oh, we forgot to do that. So once we save, what we need to do, we need to trigger it back. So this toggle function, we need to call it over here so that again, we will go back to the view mode. And before that, we will call our get API call. So this dot, where it is, get grid data function. And by default, let's make this false. So by default, list view will be visible. Let's try one more time. Fine. So data is coming. Oh, so column mismatch is there. Let me just remove the columns. How many data? City, state. We didn't showcase the pin code. Yeah, let's save. Yeah, now it is coming proper. Let's try to create one more time. Okay, in both the places we have the same title. Let's change the title also. Here it should be create new. Okay, on click of create new, we are redirecting over here. Let's say Shmi layout. Let's say I have a layout now. Let's say it's in Pinjewadi and it's a plot. I'm doing the plotting. Pune, pin code, state again Maharashtra, same it will be. Total properties, let's say I have just 20 plots in that layout. Let's try now. On click of save, two things will happen. API call will be there. And once we get the API call response, again, list view will be there and get API call also there. Save. So see, we are able to see the data created. Fine. Let's just complete the edit and the delete part. Now again, for the edit and the delete, we are getting everything from the API side. So on click on edit, we just need to pass the whole data. So this data we will pass. Let's create the delete also. Sorry. I will move a little bit fast now because basic things we have already covered. Fine, let's create this function. Data, I site, same parameter over here also. Now again the API call. So let's get to service and create our API call also, update and the delete. So let's copy, let's paste. Let's get the method name from our API. Add site, update sites. Increase your typing speed or copy paste speed also. Because in the machine test now, some companies are asking you to share the screen and do there only. So sometimes if you don't have the speed now, other person might get frustrated looking at your writing or something. So make sure you have the proper speed. Fine. Let's change the function name, delete site, update property sites. Fine. Now what I will do, I will just copy paste. So this function we need to copy. Sorry, on edit we will need on update function. Update site. Okay, here we need to change the to site. Record updated. And in case of delete also same thing. But in case of delete, we just need to pass the ID. Data dot site ID we need to pass. Fine. Record deleted. And once in edit, what we need to do, we just need to assign the whatever the parameter data we get to our form object. That's it. So let's just save all and let's see if it is working. So on click of edit, Oh, sorry. Once we edit, we again need to toggle the view also, na? So toggle view function, we need to call it over here. Let's do that. On click of, let's say I want to edit the Brahma card properties. I will click on edit. It's going over here. Flat data is also showing. Instead of 40, let's say I will make it to 50. Now on click, oh, one more thing is remaining. We need the update button, correct? So now, just like the save button, we need update button. And here star ngIf. So in this component, we have used the same old way, and control for statement also we have used in the other way. So site ID equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, we will show the save button, and the vice versa, not equal to update. And here warning. Make sure whenever we are working on a proper industry project now, theming combination, color combination should be same. So in the previous property type, we for save we have taken the primary, and for update we have taken the warning button. So just follow the same. And same thing in machine test also you can follow the same. That will obviously showcase. You will also agree because all page should have a unique theme and color combination, correct? It should not be like in one page you are choosing all different color and in one page you are choosing all different colors. That should not happen. Here on update function we need to call. So let's just save all and let's check it now. Now if I click on edit, it's going over here. Let's make it 50. Update button is also visible. On click of update. API call is also success. So see API call. Let's completely check the delete one. Okay, value cannot be null. So see here we have got 2 times question mark, and we forgot to show that pop-up also. First, let's change it here 2 times question mark here. That's why URL didn't correct it properly. Constant is delete is equal to confirm box. Are you sure want to delete? Now this kind of text everywhere we are repeating. So instead of writing everywhere, you can create a constant and put it over there. Why to write every time, no? So if this pop-up is true, we need to run this code. So let's move this code inside this. Let's try it now. So on click of delete, we get the cancel. If we click on cancel, nothing happens. If we click on delete and if we click on OK, so see API call is there. And okay, once we API call is success, again we need to redirect. Wait. Okay, we did call this, so we don't need to call this. Fine. So we have completed our complete current operation of our site also. In property type and in the login page, we have seen reactive form, control flow statement, signal also we have used. And in the site, we have just gone the old way, how we used to do that. Fine. Next is we have done we have created property, we have created site. Now in this site, we need to push or we need to add properties. So in this site list only, we will have a button over here to add properties, and in the model pop-up, we are going to do. So see, in all pages, we are doing different scenarios. Fine. So let's start that now. So basic site creation is done. Now here we need to add the properties button. So let's just change the title also. Let me just close everything. Fine. So now in the table, we need to add one more button to add the properties in particular site. So this will be properties. Let's add some spacing, mx2. Fine. Now on click of properties, we need to open the model pop-up. Just change a color. So let's say success color. Now on this button click, we need to open the model pop-up. So let's just get the Bootstrap model pop-up code. Bootstrap W3 model. Let's just use this. We will open the model pop-up by using view child. That's how you should do. Fine. So we have got this model pop-up. Now, if we have to open this model on the button click, we just need to add a hash property over here. So hash property model. Fine. Now we have to create the view child. So let's go at the top. Let's import the view child and the red view child, round bracket, and whatever the hash property name you have given, that you need to provide it over here. Model colon data type will be element ref because we are trying to access the particular element. Okay, forgot something. Oh, sorry. Capital view child we need to use. And this too in a single quote. Fine. So now this is like view child, and by default we will say like it doesn't have initializer. So like that we will add undefined over here so that that error will go away. Fine. So we have created our view child. Now on click of this properties, we need to open the model. Open model. Let's create this. We don't need any event. Yeah, sorry, we are going to need it. I will explain it later. So now this dot model dot native element dot what we need to do, we just need to add a dynamic style dot display is equal to block css we need to add. So before adding it, we just need to add a null check. So if model is there, then only we need to run this piece of code. Let's move this over here. We don't need a null check. So this method is responsible to add it. Same like that, we will create one more method to close it also. Sorry, close. And it will be none over here. Now this function we will call in the model pop-up. On click of close, like this, and on click of close over here also. And it needs a parameter. Let's create a parameter. Data colon. What type of data I'm going to get? Site only. Let's just save all and let's test. Now, if we click on properties, you can see model pop-up is opening. And if we click on close, it is getting closed also. Now, the property we need to add. Let's just go to the API. So here, if you see add property, sorry, where it is, add property master. So this is the API. So here you can see we need to pass the site ID. So that's why when we click on this particular site, whatever the site ID is there, that we are passing from the function click. We are passing the whole data, right? So that data, whatever the data we get, that we need to store it into a variable. So let's say current site ID. It will be data type with number. By default, I will initialize with 0. And in this variable, we have to store the currently clicked site. So this dot current site is equal to data dot site ID. Fine. Now, so in this model pop-up, we need to design the form. Before design the form, we need to create the interface, or we will use what do we say, reactive form over here. So what things we are going to need, like this many field we are going to need. So let's create the reactive form now. So property form colon form group is equal to new form group. Empty initialization I'm doing. Then we need to create one more method. Initialize form. Now here this dot property form is equal to new form group. How many property we need, like that we will create the controls. Colon new form control. Like this, the property ID we have to initialize with 0. Let me just copy paste. Then we will change. So property number is just a string, so initialize with empty. This is also empty. Total area also empty, rate is also empty, and site ID is 0. Fine. So we have initialized our form. Now this function we need to call on the page load also. So in the constructor, we will call this method so that our form will be properly initialized. Fine. Now this form, we need to bind it to our model popup. Let me just get the form from YouTube project template. You can have already access to this also. So this is the form. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Now here, what we can do, we need to show the list also, right? So instead of this, we can get the complete code list and the form. Both we can put it in a single table. So let's copy whole. Let's put it over here. Now instead of normal model, we will need model LG. So model hyphen LG. Let's see if model is opening properly. Yeah, so large model is opening. Let's remove that title. We don't need this title. And container also we won't need it. Let's remove this div, it's unnecessary. And here we will have side by side structure. So row call 8. In first column, we will have this card. Then in second column, we will have this form. Thing, yeah, we did the mistake. So here, if you see, list came here, list should be over here. So let's realign that. So this card will go into this. And this card we need to move over here. Let's save and let's try now. Wait, somewhere closing div appeared. Okay, so now see, here we are going to show the properties and here we will have the form. Now this is property ID, so we need to remove it. It's an primary key. Primary key, we don't need it. So let's remove this property number, then facing, total area, rate, and the site ID. Site ID also we don't need. So it's going to be, we already have the variable. In that variable, we are going to have the site ID selected. Let's save and check one more time. Let's realign the classes now. Considering we have small space, 12, 6, 6, 12. Fine. But somewhat it is not looking proper. What we can do is, yeah, let it be for now. Let's just adjust the title. And in that area in our property list also, we don't need to show site ID. Site name will be there. Fine, it is looking proper now. And table SM class we will add so that we will have a compact table. Let's see one more time. Fine. So now it looks proper. Now over here, we need to do the binding. So we have created form. So we have created this form. Now this form, we need to bind it to our form. So on the form tag, form group. Okay. We are using reactive forms. Obviously, over at the top, we need to import reactive form module. Then it will suggest. Our form name is property form. So this will go over here. Then on every element, we need to bind form controller name is equal to whatever the form controller name we need to bind. First is property number. Let me just copy paste. Rate. Then we have total area. facing. Fine. Now on click of button, we need to call our API call function. So let's create API call function into our master service that will be save. So let's get this save property. Let's get the API call. I know I'm going a little bit fast, but same kind of thing we are repeating. Once I complete everything, now I will create a constant and move this to the constant also. But let's just complete the basic functionality first. So now on click of it, click on save property. Let's create this function. Now same kind of API call we will need. So let's copy paste. Instead of over here, property form dot value we will need. And instead of this, save property. But just one thing is remaining over here. While initializing the form, we have initialized everything. But once we edit, we are storing the current site ID over here. So this we need to pass it over here because we need to pass the site ID. Now site ID is in when we click on the properties button, we are getting that site ID and that we are storing over here. So that only we are assigning it over here. Fine. So that's it. And we need the call to get all the site also, all the properties also created. So let's create that. Now we need to we need to get the particular properties from the site. So let's see if we have the API. Get all property master. I think API is not there. Uh, we need one API which will get us the particular properties from particular site. Okay, so what I will do for now, I will filter it out on the front end side. But by the time you will use this API, you will find one API over here that will be get all property by site ID. Fine. So for now, I'm just making this API call. This API will get us all the properties, fine, from all the side, but we need a dedicated API. I will create that later. Fine. Now this API call also we need to make it. So just like where it is our get API call. Yeah, so just like this, get it is. Fine. And just like this variable also, we will need one more variable, properties. We didn't created interface. Yes. So let's create interface of that. Do we have? No. Let's create interface of it. We are going to create interface now because we are using reactive form. So we don't need the class. This is I property. Where it is over here. Let's add the import. I property list. Now, whatever the data we get from the API, we will store it over here. But before storing, we can filter it also. Where filter, we will get site ID over here. So m dot site ID is equal to with what we will compare with this site ID. So whatever the current site ID we are opening, we are just filtering that and that we are storing it over here. Let's add any data type over here. Fine. Now this function also we need to call once we open the model pop-up. Make sure you call it over here because we are going to change the API call. So once you open the model, then only you will get the site ID and this ID you need to pass it over here. Once I push the code now, I will update the proper working flow also. So let's save and check. Oh, one more. Whatever the data we have, we need to print it also. Okay. So over here, we will use @ for loop. Let's move this TR over here. So here we need to show the serial number we are not showing. So item dot property number we need to showcase over here. This is nothing but facing. Item dot facing. This is the square foot or the item dot total area and the rate. Right. Fine. So let's just save all and let's see if we are able to get the data properly. Fine. So let's try to create the property. Let's say property number 101, starting with 101. Facing, let's say it's facing total area, let's say 1200 square feet, something. Rate, let's say 40 lakh. Yeah. Okay. Now let's check the network call. We call the button, right? Yes. Yeah. So see, record got saved. But on click of save, I think we didn't call that API call. So let's open it one more time. Now, once I open it, you can see one API call is there, but we are not getting data. Why it's empty? Let's try one more time, saving it. Site ID is going 0. How come? See, site ID is 0, so you won't get the data over here because I have a join over here. But why site ID is not going over there? While initializing the form. Okay, sorry. So we need to initialize this again once we click on the open model because that's when we got the site ID, right? Otherwise, it is 0 by default. Sorry, this two after this function once we initialize the value because this value we are using it over here. Now it should work fine. So property number 1101 facing east, Barashe. Fine. So now if I click on save, record saved. Now if we check the object, see site ID is going over here. Let's close and let's open it again. So now you can see that property is visible. But just small things we need to do. On click of save, we need to call this function and toggle also we don't need it. Let's try one more time. So if I click on properties, let's say 102 is so let's enter some. On click of save, record got saved. Wait, why data is not visible still? Let's try one more time. Record got saved. After that, okay, get all site. No, get all properties API call should be there, no? Correct only. Let's see one more time. Wait. We did something else. Here we need to make that API call. Let's save and check now. So currently 3 properties we have added. I will add a duplicate check on this property number because we cannot have duplicate property number, correct? So let's add 3. Just I'm entering the dummy details. On click of save, now we will have 2 API call. See, and the record is also available over here. So this is how we have done it. Now the edit part and the delete part, I won't be explaining it because same kind of thing we have already done it. Fine. So this is how we have done the property creation. And save button. Yeah, let it be. So we are done with property type we have created, then site also we have created. Within site, we have created properties also. Now remember, while creation, we have created a dedicated component for properties. This. So in this, you will be able to show all the properties and same thing. The CRUD operation, normally whatever we have done in site and property type, now same thing you can do it over here. But here you need to show the drop down of site, just like how we have shown the drop down of property type over here. So that you can do. Fine. So I'm just keeping that because same kind of code will be there, just API call will be different. So you can understand that. Now, the next part is booking part. Okay. So the booking part is in this component. So let's see the booking API first. Now for booking, what we can do, as we discussed, let me just open the UI first. Where is the booking site panel? Let's run this. So this kind of a page we have to do. So from here, I will be able to see all the site. Once I select the site, I should be able to see all the properties from that site. Again, I will need the API. I will do one thing. Let me just pause the video and I will create the API first. So I have created that API that will be get all property by site ID. So if you send a site ID, so whatever the properties we have created, that only you will get. So see, if I'm passing 3, we don't have a site ID with 3, so we are getting empty array. But we have a site with 6 ID. So see, we are getting 3 properties, whatever properties we have created. Fine. Let me just create 1 or 2 properties. Sites first. What was that? Brahma Corp, location, Baner. We deleted this. This was, let's say, flat scheme. 50. Let's click on save. So now we have 2 sites. Let's add some properties in this also. Plot number 1 is total area, Barashe. Let's enter some value. Fine. Let's add one more. Fine. So now we have 2 sites and in each site we have created some properties also. Now we need to do the booking form. So this is the UI what we discuss right now. Where it was like this UI we need to create. So for that, we are going to use the booking component. So now in booking component, we need this UI. So let's get this UI. Let's paste it over here. We need to create the route also. So let's create the route. Oh, okay. One more thing, if you don't know. So if you have to set the title of the tab means here, whatever we are able to see now. So this you can set it while creating route only. So by using the title property. Site master. Fine. And this we need to add it in the navigation also. So let's quickly add that. So this should be booking, no? This will be booking. Let's just save all and let's check if we are able to see that UI. So on click of booking. Wait, why still component we didn't change? I think in the route. Yeah. So that was booking component. Booking component. So the UI is visible. I think we need some CSS. Yeah, some CSS is there. Let's copy. Let's paste it into our specific component only. Let's save. So now you can see our UI is properly visible. So now here we need to show the sites. So now we can, we already have the API call and everything ready, right? So in this component, what we can do, we will create an observable. So sites dollar colon observable data type of site only is equal to new observable and it's going to be array. So array symbol. Fine. So we have created observable. Then in constructor, and we need to create an instance of master service also. inject master service. Why I'm doing observable? Because that array we are not going to use anywhere. So instead of creating variable and storing that and subscribing, we can just directly subscribe into our HTML part. So this dot master service dot get all site. That's it. Okay, again that pipe thing we need to do. So because this is returning our object, from that we need to get the particular data. Map operator round bracket result colon API response model, and we need to return. Some spelling mistake is there. No. Dot data. Right. Now this we will use it directly in the HTML. Again, a sync pipe we will need. So let's just add that. Again, just to repeat, I know I'm going fast, but you can do everything properly, because same thing I have already explained in the previous component. So that's why I'm going a little bit fast. And here we need the sync pipe, and the option will go inside this value as a property binding. Here we need to bind item dot site ID we need to bind, and here we need to display the site item dot site title like this. So let's just save this and check if we are able to see the sites. So see Brahma Karpan. Now on click of this particular site, we need to call this API so that we will get the particular properties from that site. So let's do that. So we need to, this is a new API call. So let's create the service. So this is a get API call. Let's copy, paste function name. And here we need the site ID, that too with data type number. And this ID we need to pass over here, concatenation. Now, so on change of this drop down. So let's write a change event and change get properties. And let's try to pass $event. Instead of creating variable, I'm trying something. So let's just try if we get the ID. I thought it event. Okay, sorry. Here event we need to add. Fine. Now, so on click of on change of this drop down, we are calling this API and we are passing the event. So now event we will get it over here. Let's add a debugger and see what do we get over here. It's a JavaScript thing, but I'm trying to avoid creating one variable. Let's just see if it works properly. And in ID dot target dot value 7. Yeah, so we are getting the selected site like this. So what we will do, in case of this, we are just going to use this to pass it to the API, right? So event. Now here we will just make the our API call. So this dot master service dot get all properties by site ID. So event dot target dot ID, event dot target dot value, event dot target dot value we need to use. It will ask us to access like this. Still it is giving error. Okay, null check. Why it is giving still error? What is it saying? Implicit value cannot be used as index type or event target. Let's try to access directly. Still, it is not allowing us. Property value does not exist. So that's why I was trying to read like this. Fine. So dot subscribe. Why it is saying like this? Why it is expecting colon over here? Instead of doing this over here, now let's create a local variable ID. And this ID we need to pass as a parameter over here. What is it expecting? Why colon it is expecting? Let's add a null check proper event. Let it be. Let's create a variable site ID colon number 0, and this we will bind it to our drop down change on using ng model directive. Square bracket, round bracket, ng model, site ID, ng model we are using. So forms model we need to import. So instead of doing this, we will directly get the site ID in this variable. Fine. Result colon I API response model. Now we need to create one more variable to store all the properties. List colon I property square bracket is equal to empty. Whatever the data we get, that we will store it over here. So this dot property list is equal to res dot data. Fine. Now this we need to bind it to the HTML. So this is the column which we are iterating. So let's add the red for loop. Now this is the column which is we are iterating. So let's move this over here. Let's remove the static one. For now, I will just comment it because we need that class. Wait, where is? Fine. Now over here property number we need to display. So item dot property number. Here we can show the total area. And here spacing. And here we need to show the rate. So item dot rate. Let's just save and check if we are able to show the data properly. So if I select Brahma Corp, so in Brahma Corp, we have just created two properties. So two properties are visible. If we select Mahalakshmi layout, so see 4 properties we had created. So all are available. So that, okay, one more thing that we need to do. So for now, what we have done, we have on the selection of site, we are able to load the particular properties. Now on click of book, we have to book it. So for that, we need to open the model pop-up. So booking, we will do it into the model pop-up. So before that, now I will need to change my APIs because currently booking API is like we can just pass the customer ID. But we cannot first create the customer, then come here and the booking. At a time, both things should happen. So I need to change my API. So in booking, we should have the customer detail as well. So let me just change the API. So I have changed my API. Booking API means in booking API, we will have now customer detail also and the booking detail also. So customer ID and the booking ID, you need to send it 0. Property ID, whatever the property you are going to do, book. Fine. So this is the object we need. So let's create, or we will go with, let's go with reactive form only so that we don't have to create class and interface. Now this is the UI which I'm going to use. So let me just get the form. And on click of book, now we are going to open the model pop-up. So let's just get the model pop-up first. So we already had created model pop-up over here. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. We just need to remove this form. And we need this form over here. Now in the previous side component, we have opened the model pop-up by using view child. Let's do the normal way over here so that you will be aware about how many ways we can open the model pop-up. So let's get this two model functions. Let's put it over here. Now, instead of this, what we will do, we will try to get the access of DOM element. So model is equal to document dot get element by ID. And here we can pass the ID. So now instead of hash property, we need to give model ID, and this model ID, we will pass it over here. And this model check, we need to add it over here. So directly we are adding null check over here. So again, same thing, it will goes to over here also, just none will be there. And when we are opening the model pop-up, we need to do that on the click of this, and we have to pass the primary key, that is property ID. Let's pass the whole item, open model, and this will be I property we will get. Let's try to save it. Let's just check if we are able to open the model pop-up. Yes, so see, we are able to open the model pop-up. We don't need this card actually. So let's remove that card. Unnecessary space it is occupying. So where is the card? This is the card which we don't need. This row also we won't be needing. Let's just format. Let's save and check. So now if we click on book, you get to see the proper booking form. So name, mobile, email address. Why it got repeated? Wait, let me remove the unnecessary thing. Name, email address. Okay, let's remove this. Fine. So this is the customer detail we need to provide. Then this should get automatically selected, whatever the property. So ultimately we don't need this because once we click on that property, we have the property. So that we can hide this also, booking date and this. So let's remove this. We don't need it, or I will comment it for now. Fine. So now on click of this book, now we are passing the data also property. So here we will get the property ID. So now we have to create the form also. So booking form colon form group is equal to new form group round bracket curly bracket enter. The basic initialization form we have created. Now we need to create one more method, or we can, yeah, we need to create one more method. So initialize form. So this dot booking form is equal to new form group round bracket curly bracket enter. Now what are the fields we need to pass that we need? So let's copy these whole fields. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Earlier curly bracket we don't need, so let's remove it. Wherever we have this, we will replace that with new form control and with initialization like this. So let's replace. Oh, wait, we forgot colon like this. And wherever we have string, we will replace that with empty value. Just this is remaining and comma is also remaining. Fine. So proper booking ID is our, why still error? Okay, import statement. So booking ID is our primary key, property ID we are going to get, booking rate 0, total amount. Yeah, correct. Fine. Now, once we click on the open model, this function we need to call. And this data also we need to set it somewhere. So current property. ID number is equal to 0. And when we open the model pop-up, we need to store it. So this dot current property is equal to data dot property ID, we need to store it. And this we will pass it while initialization. So over here, property ID. So instead of 0, we need to pass this. Remaining things will be by default initialized. So this form, okay, sorry, this function also we need to call it over here so that our form will get initialized. Now this form we need to bind it to our HTML also. Let's just quickly bind that. So this is the form tag, square bracket, form group. Oh, sorry. Again, we need to import the reactive form module. Booking form. On each element, we are going to add the form control. So now here I will just use the shortcut. So wherever we have the form control class, I will replace that with this so that we don't have to copy paste. Fine. Now here we just need to bind the properties. So let's open the side by side. Let's get the field name. So with here name we need to bind. So name, mobile, email, address. For address, you can take the text area, but just to save the time, I'm going with text box only. Now here booking dates. So where is booking date? We just need date, not the time also we need. Booking rate. Here it will goes the booking rate. That's it. Correct. Now, so everything basic thing we have created. Now we need to create the API call. So that will be save booking on save booking. Let's get the API call. So API call will be add property booking. So this will go over here. Now on click of save, we have to call that API call. So click do booking function name just I'm giving. Let's create this function. Let's copy the save API call function like this. Booking. What we need to pass the booking form object. Record saved. We don't need this. Yeah. So see, if you see the UI, we have a site selection. And once we select the site, we are going to do two things. First, we are going to get all the properties, and second API call to get all the booking because we need to show the site booked also. Correct. So for that, this is the API. So get all property bookings by site ID. So this we need to make two API call we are going to make. So let's create API call function for this also. Let's copy paste. I will, once we complete now, then you will understand the purpose of this API call. Fine. So over here, just like get properties, we will need one more API call to get bookings by site ID. And here we need to pass the same event now. So what we can do, this function, we will call it over here. And this site ID, we will pass it. Correct. Just like property listing, we will need one more array for the booking. So booking list. I'm just creating it just to save the time. You can create interface or class booking list. Fine. Now, why it is getting error? On the booking, we need to call this function. Yeah, get booking by site ID so that book button should be hidden. Fine. Okay. So let's just try now. Why it is not visible? Somebody cannot find control name with address. Okay. So while initialization, this constructor also we need to call because otherwise it will break. Let's save. Fine. So let's open Brahma Corp. In Brahma Corp, we have two properties. One and property number 2 and 1. So let's try to book property number 2. So on click of book, let's say customer is Chetan. Let's enter dummy mobile number. And make sure whenever you are also using these APIs now, these APIs are open, everyone is going to see the data. So make sure you don't enter your correct email address and the mobile number. Just enter anything dummy one. Fine. I don't have to tell this, but everyone is aware, but just be aware. Fine. Booking date, let's say today, booking rate, let's say something, total amount, something. Now on click of save. Yeah, API call is there. And after that, get all property booking by site ID is also there and one booking is there. Now see, I have booked the property number 2, but still that property number 2 is available to book. But this should not happen, right? So we have to book this, we have to remove this button and we need to show that it is sold. So for that, you need to write a little bit check. So this is the API which in that you are going to get the booking details, like whatever the booking we have for the particular site. So now we need to write one function, check booking or check if property available. And here we will get property ID. Data type number. And here we are going to get the bookings in this particular list, right? So here we will filter it out. So constant record is equal to this dot filter. So if you see the booking array, we get the property ID. So this property ID, we need to match it with this property ID. And here we need to add a if check. If record is not undefined, sorry, it should be fine. Not undefined, we will return record. Otherwise, we will return null or something. And like that, we will write the code. So this function we are going to call on the for loop where we have the button. So here at the if function call I'm doing, and here what we need to pass, just the property ID. So item dot property ID we need to pass. So if this is not null, means we got the booking, then we need that other UI. We have it over here. Where is the sold one? And so this sold button will be visible. Else we will have the book now button. Let's just see if it is working properly. So if I select this, so now you can see this property was booked, so it is coming, sold button is coming. But if it is sold, so we need to show the details also, like who is the owner, like who we have sold this. So that also we are going to get it over here. Now again, if instead of calling that, what we can do, let's use ng container. How we are going to do that? We need to call this function and we need to store the data over here. How we are going to do that? We need to store the data, whatever this function is going. Okay, let's not make it complex. So again, we will call this function. It is not a good thing, but let's just do it. So over here, we need to show the data also, like who has booked this. So we will use paragraph. And this function is going to return the data. What type of data we are going to get? Let's see the booking one. Customer name we can show. Fine. And let's show the mobile number also. Let it be. Let's save and check. Why we are getting error? Fine. So see, now we are able to see that this is booked. But again, like this same green color is getting applied. So for that, this CSS we need to add. Property box or sold class we need to add on over here. So now same function again we need to work. This is multiple. We should have proper way is there. But again, I have to search. So let it be. So here, class name, I'm using property binding. So if this is not equal to null, means this class, otherwise this class. So if this is not equal to null, means this is available. Sorry, both the classes we need to add it over here. Otherwise, sold one. Let's remove this. Let's save and check. No, something is not right. Okay, here available should be over here, and here we have to add sold. Let's save. See, so now classes is available, and in Marshmallow all the way are available. Got it? So this is how we have completed our whole application. Now the remaining thing is just the API call. So like you need to see all these API call at the bottom. These are kind of repeating thing. So if you have to get all the booking, if you have to get all the booking by customer, if you have to get all the site booking is already there. This one, right? So like that, you need to integrate this API. So this is the complete flow of the application. And again, I will provide you the dashboard API where you will be able to show like what number of total sites we have, total booking, total amount received, something like API I will provide. It will be just a GET API call and you can show the data in the dashboard. Fine. So that's it with this video. I hope this project was helpful, and this is kind of an actual industry project. So many products are there built upon this idea. So if we enhance it now, so we can sold this to any client also. These are the basic things we have. Again, some advanced things will be there, reporting, mailing, and everything. But this is basic. Multiple user login will be there. but the base idea will be like this only. Fine. So I hope this was helpful. Please do like, share, and comment.